what's amazing is that you endured in that kind of environment with people being that out.
And not having sensitivity, and you know, not very many women were in the class. But it was good, because in every situation in life, whether it's that situation that I was in, to stay and survive in those classes, there's a diamond in every situation. And anything destructive that happens to you personally, or abuse, or whatever, there's a diamond underneath there that you have to find and bring out. And that's what happened. I was able to focus on learning the principles because I didn't have the science behind me.
Well, that disadvantage
was
was
an
an
advantage.
advantage in another way,
It was an
because
advantage
you
for
had to
me.
go find a deeper meaning
Yes,
of it.
because people with size take it for granted, but there's always going to be people larger than them, and they're not learning the art if they use physical. So I cannot use physical. And if I couldn't make these techniques work, I wouldn't have students. They wouldn't study under me. And most of my students are male.
What do you think the attraction about that is? Is that
To the female-
for the
me?
males? I mean,
What? Well, you've had female instructors before?
No, I've never
Okay,
had a female
So what is the
instructor.
difference for you?
Well, I think there's a I mean, this is as a psychologist speaking. It's like you can get in touch with the feminine side. You know,
Sensitivity.
the sensitivity. I can
Inner
claim that,
strength.
but not be a victim.
Right.
See, for men, if they're soft, if they're gentle, they become vulnerable, and they can be hurt. So they do not let their guard down easily. So for them to claim either fear or the vulnerability opens the door for them being perhaps humiliated or shamed. But I felt like when you were talking about it, you embodied the feminine side of the martial arts and the softer side that allowed people to feel like you could step into the feminine side and with dignity. See, this picture is a woman with dignity and poise. She's
Yes,
very
it's
present. She's in this energy flow. And I would want that for myself, personally, my own personal development, and I would like it for my two daughters who are great kids.
Right.
But in the society, they didn't get turned, they didn't understand the power of the feminine or how to be a woman, you know, and not turn against themselves, you know, so that incorporated. So you're trying to unlodge or dislodge a lot of negative images. So for this, when I met you in class, that's where I said, I never even imagined this existed. Even though I had a soft side of me, then it was like, okay, now I can open this up and pursue this. And then it also helped me connect with female patients. Because I understood something. If I could do this, like the first day I came to class and I saw these two kids in there, that was embarrassing. I said, oh yeah. I said, here I'm the oldest guy in the class and these two kids were wonderful. And it was like, oh, one more day of humiliation. That's going to be fun. I'm going to run into my shortcomings right here, right in front of everybody. And at first I was embarrassed. I was very embarrassed and self-conscious because I kept looking in the mirror and said, who's that old guy over there? And it was me. And but it took about 6 months to let that go. Right. But what helped me with the two kids in class, we'd get this so fast and do it their own way. They would make you laugh at yourself and make it playful.
So you found that diamond.
I did find the diamond, and I got past embarrassment and shame.
Yes, because you were there to learn.
Yeah, so the point is that body image for people is such a big thing, and how you look and what you appear to. And you don't even know you're in that trance sometimes until you actually do something that wakes you up out of it.
And you want to be really who you are all the time. All the time, and not because of what might look like to other people, or you're still learning, but some people feel very uncomfortable with that when they're a beginner and learning something.
Well, I felt like I was way out of my league, and and this was like, hey, this is pushing me, and I'm glad it got pushed.
You needed that challenge.
I needed the challenge, and also here's the disadvantage of having an education.
Yes.
And that was I could think too much.
That's right, and it doesn't work in Aikido, does it?
No, that's exactly. I get in my own way, and because I have an education, I can think about lots of things. But it stops me from moving, and it always throws me off balance.
That's right.
And the funny thing about what you do, you would catch me in the middle of one of my thoughts. And
Not
I'd
only
go,
you.
oh no, you stop thinking, just do it.
Yeah,
And that was terrific. I had such a
because of the body. Yeah.
well, I could catching on to my thinking dominating my behavior,
Right.
and getting free from that
It's a
is like
freedom.
getting, well, Freud used the old term neurosis.
Yeah.
Neurosis is blocking the life energy.
That's right.
I was getting in my own way,
That's right.
but had no idea
No.
to that extent. Until you put these movements, you will see where you're blocked immediately in these classes. That's why I found it very helpful and still do.
Yes,
you know.
it's like it's very much like therapy.
Oh, it is. It is. You know, so I've been really
Oh,
pleased.
good.
Uh,
Okay.
so where should we go here? Do you see yourself writing another book?
Yes, I do have other publications. I already started my other publications, even for children, because they are a future generation. And I have my sister that will help me with the illustrations. And there'll be concepts to help them about, just to help them into their adulthood, let's just say. Very simplified for
Now,
children.
do you, like those two kids in our class,
Yes.
they seem to catch on. Now, I don't know if they were so much more flexible myself. And so are you saying that if you write something, you would try to teach children as a group too?
Not
These
a
principles?
martial art, but the concept.
Oh, the concepts, not the
Using
martial art. Right.
animals in the book.
Oh, I see,
A
I
children's
see.
book,
Oh, okay.
yes. And then other publications also coming out as sequels to this book. This is the framework for how life works. And then there will be a sequel to that and another sequel.
Hmm. So this is you see this process just continuing.
Yes.
You've caught your own creativity.
That's exactly right. Because some people will tell me, it must have been your destiny to become a teacher. And I said, no, it was a creation. It was a decision to become a teacher. I created that.
Hmm.
And then it was my creativity to become an author. It was also a creation. Because, Tom, there's only two aspects to life. You are either creating or you're living in fear. And vice versa. Before, I was always living in fear. I could not create. That's the difference right now.
I see.
That's the difference.
Well, you get out of your own way, but you have to address the fear.
That's
and
right.
That's so important
To
that
be able
we
to
don't
create.
know it. Well, I mean, how much, if it's epidemic, the amount of anxiety or fear that's in the society and people in general, that they can't access creativity or their deeper self, or what.
Or self-actualize. They can't reach that higher levels in this life because of patterns of fear-based thoughts.
Hmm. So this is an incredible journey here that you've opened the door to for a lot of people, and I can't recommend it high enough. One, the book, and Lynn's approach to everything. I find it enriching just to be in her class and just hear the reflections after we do some exercises.